Okay, channel my mache. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Thank you for joining us for SIG CLI Bug Scrub on February 3rd, 2021. I'm your host, Eddie Zaneski. Just a reminder that we are abiding by the CNCF Code of Conduct, so be excellent to each other. And with that, let's get started. I also do want to give a quick shout out. I've been struggling with some depression for the past few weeks, so just thanks to everyone who's been pulling some extra weight, especially Doug and team, and y'all are awesome. So thanks for being supportive and picking up my slack. But I'm feeling better now. Good to be back. Okay, so Nick had a PR that they wanted reviewed. I think, Brian, you already approved this one. You did.
Which one is it so I can follow along here? Actually, let me
pop my chat up.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So, Sean, it looks like you're tagged for the approval of this one. You'd be able to take a look at that.
Yes. My apologies for not having gotten back to Nick. And I will take care of that today.
Awesome.
So Brian, can I ask you, did you have any concerns at all about this approach?
I initially had a concern because I was unsure that observed generation was something that was at the condition level and not just at the status level, but that is not the case. It is at both the status. Currently, it's at both the status and the condition level. So, because I didn't want to like introduce a new convention or something with this, but I don't think it. I think this is fine.
Okay. Thanks.
Cool. Did anyone else have anything that needed a look before we dive into the backlog? Okay. All right, so we'll hit the triage party dashboard first, and then we'll go through what else is left. Okay, kubectl 963. Option to render messaging using structured output. Okay, so we talked about this one. And I think Mache was going to follow up. I think, Phil, you might have had thoughts on this too.
Yeah, I remember discussing this. I'm not sure if the results are captured. I mean, I remember what it is. I'm not opposed to it, but it is work that someone would need to own, and I think it's not a trivial amount of work.
I remember us saying the opposite, as in we didn't want people to consume the output as an integration tool. Or I could be confusing something else.
I agree that we don't want people consuming the output today. If like we want to, from certain commands, have so like a part, like it, we should make it explicit if we're going to make it like machine parsable. But I think it's fine for us to like explicitly opt in to say, hey, like this command should have, an output format that's machine parsable. Like for instance, like this is, looks like it's error message focused, but like an example of where this would, make sense, right, is like if kubectl get, like it emits a table today, and if we wanted to make that table like in JSON or something so that it's parsable, like that would seem reasonable to me. I don't have strong about it though.
We actually have a PR from Knight 42 that adds CSV output support. I think it's just waiting for a final approval.
To kube control get, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah. So there you go.
I looked at it yesterday, actually. It's this one. That's not error messages, that's just the table output. Okay. Okay, so action for that will be, I'll type something up a little broader. That's going to be bigger scope that we need to think about at some point, right? If we're going to figure out what that will look like, I'll probably need a cap.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first step on this, I think, would be like, does someone really care about, like, would anyone work on this for 9 months? Right, because like it might, I expect there to be a good amount of back and forth on exactly how you want to do this. And if someone was like, yeah, like this is really important to me, I don't want to, I'd say, okay, like, well, we shouldn't just block it. We should enable you to do the work. My biggest concern is like that it's like someone, you know, if someone's like, I would like this feature, it would be nice to have, like, that's not going to turn it into a completed product, right? So someone has to be like really committed to seeing this getting done. And then I think we can have a conversation with it at that point.
Okay. Okay, 950, remote kube config. Phil, you replied on
This
this.
one is, yeah, we need a reply.
For this one.
I guess like my question was like, rather than saying, okay, like here's the protocol, like you can just exec curl that thing. I guess like, so this is like an HTTPS, right? But then like, what if there's like, you don't want it to be public and you want it to be through like something that requires some sort of, you know, authorization to get the kube config, or I don't know.
I read through that one and I was wondering about that one. Sorry for being late. I was kind of like, nah, yeah, I'm not super excited about supporting something like that. I can understand the use case. I'm not sure if I would probably, if someone is thinking about something like that, I'll probably push towards, I don't know, mounting remote disk locally or something along those lines rather.
And the aspirate or the use case is that like you have an organization and you want people to have some kube control, like on like to give everyone a kube config and everyone gets like refers to some remote kube control. Is that the motivation there? And then you can update it remotely.
Yeah, that was my take on it. I know we originally said that a certain security professional would blast us on Twitter if we implemented this.
Yeah, it just seems like it's a bit weird, right? Like what are we encouraging you to do, right? Like if it's just HTTPS with like you can just hit it with curl, then we're encouraging you to put like some like plain text, like world readable file with your credentials for your cluster on the internet, right? I don't know. Is that like, that seems like what we're encouraging as like a good pattern. And like maybe there's like, if it's a dev cluster and you're behind SSO, I don't know. are behind like a VPN, maybe there's some way you could do this and feel comfortable about posting your kube config on, you know, curlable endpoint. But like, I'd imagine like there's probably like a lot of ways that like you could do this that are not that someone might want, right? Like GCS bucket, right, would be an example where, yeah, at least like it's, you know, ACLed, right, and encrypted, and that sort of thing. So like, you know, remote storage, like, and like, how would you get that, right? That would be like you'd G Cloud, like, you know, pull it down or something like that. So those are the patterns I'd see, like that would be probably more canonical and a little more secure. And what's being proposed wouldn't support those. Like we'd have to implement each one of those, which is kind of why I was suggesting like, what do you really want to do, right? Like I'm not, like if we were to pursue this, like if this is a pattern that's like valid, and we wanted to pursue this, like maybe there's like a middle ground between the friction caused by exec plugins today and what is being proposed here. Like it says server. Is that just getting the server? Sorry, maybe I missed. No, I missed this. Sorry, it's kind of early in the morning. This is the config that's being pulled down from SSH, right?
Yes.
So the you know, could we just say like wherever like we put HTTPS, where's the example of what the of where this is being configured to be pulled down?
I think the
Okay, so like, couldn't that just be an exec command or something that does a curl?
I mean, the data that they're claiming that might be changing, I think they are not changing that frequently. And if it's a recurring pattern, I would probably encourage to have some kind of a wrapper around kubectl to get those from a common place and ensure that this is up to date, like a plugin. But I would, yeah,
I mean, why wouldn't we do this? Like, why wouldn't we just make it so you could have an environment variable that has the actual contents of the kube config, right? And then when your shell starts up, you just like populate that environment variable with whatever command you want. And if that's a curl, then that's fine too.
yeah, basically, I'm not super happy about such functionality. I would just.
So yeah, I think the answer is like, we're not going to do this because like, one, we're not sure about the security. And two, it seems to be really specific just to like what curl supports rather than storing in AWS or GCP or any other store that you may also want to store this thing in. And so like, I don't know, I think we might be open to saying like, you know, maybe making it a little simpler to populate it from not a file, but from, or pull the config, not just from a file, but maybe from an environment variable or something. But that would be probably the most we consider.
Okay, I will finish that up.
Yeah,
Support for
close that one too, so we don't like run into it again next time.
this one you said, right? Closed, yeah.
Yeah, we should close this one.
965.
This is so it hits the API server cache to.
Yeah,
this
I
stuff.
remember the discussion. It was basically, yes, it's something reasonable. So instead of, this is mostly for watch. If you start watching, the watch basically does initial list and then continues from a particular point that it read. And someone proposed that maybe instead of doing the initial list, we could just ask for a watch from a particular version. The server supports it. So this is only to expose this functionality in a get. Seems pretty reasonable. And it shouldn't be even that hard to implement. Maybe we could probably mark it as a first good time issue. I remember that someone was actually reaching out to me for those, and I've noticed that we almost completed the only one that we had, which was changing the create comments from the structured generators to non-generators. And that's almost done. So there's nothing that we could point new people to work on.
Just /help. Good first issue, good first. And then let me tag this guy real quick. Okay. Okay, 994. kubectl auth gives invalid answer when namespace argument is blank. We looked at this in a meeting.
Yeah, I think, didn't we already talk about this? And I think that if you look at his example at the very top, there, like the last example, it's actually misinterpreting, because if you give the -n and you don't give a namespace, then it's interpreting whatever comes next as the namespace. It's not, I don't know that this is a bug necessarily. I mean, if maybe it's a message thing, but like the -- as system service Bagwell Jenkins automation is the namespace in the command.
Yeah.
What's the concern here? It's just like that the documentation, like they didn't understand how to run the command, or is it the documentation's wrong?
I just think it was a user error. They were passing the flag, but no value to it. So like Brian said, this was being interpreted as the namespace.
Probably the simplest thing to verify this thing is ask the user, or you can even do it on your own, to invoke the command with verbosity 7, 8, or 9. I can't remember which one is which, but basically at one of the highest levels, you will get the request as a curl that you can literally copy paste with a full body that we're sending to the server, and you can verify what kind of fields and what values are being sent to the server. Oh yeah, and actually somebody is. So if the namespace is just empty, or it passes as the namespace the next argument, and it just works fine. So I don't see any reason why this is a bug. It's
Agreed. I commented and closed it. 1001. Keep control list, not always sets resource version on list made up data. Sorry, I have to let my dog out real quick.
Something tells me this goes back to the issue that we have about using the list for presenting the results from get. So I'll probably point to the other one about documenting what list is, and we're not gonna fix that one. We're not gonna set any artificial numbers on that list because the list being used, it's only as a container to present the data to users. I can write a detailed explanation and link to the other issue if you want to.
Yeah, I tagged you on it.
Okay.
1002. And endpoint count in service.
Sure. No objections on that one.
That's probably a good first issue too, right?
Yeah, I think it should be pretty easy. I think it's doable, definitely. Although the change will be server side, so it's something that we will expose to a broader set of users, not just keep cutoff. So eventually we might consider part of why. Yeah. Okay. Good. But we own that part of the code. So.
And 10. Feature requests, support show annotations. That's pretty valid, especially because when you describe when you get the full output, you still get the whole managed fields right now.
Yes and no.
It's an easy implementation too, right? Can't we just basically copy what it's doing in labels?
I wonder what we're doing for labels, honestly. Whether it's part of the code or this is done client side.
I'll circle back to that one while you're looking. Feature request, attach keys and option settings for pod terminal. This has been requested before.
I think the triage party was actually suggesting that there's a similar issue. If you go back to the triage party below this issue.
I missed that.
Yeah, it looked pretty cool.
Oh,
I
it's the
really
same
like
user.
that option. I am not surprised.
I mean, yeah, this comes down to someone doing it, right? So should I mark it help wanted, I guess?
What did we say in the other issue that we're going to do it?
It just got beta botted.
Oh, okay.
Actually, this isn't even the one I was thinking about. There was another one that someone was wanting. I'll see if I can dig it up. Did you have a follow-up for the annotation one, Mache?
I'm just trying to figure out how we have that one implemented.
Okay.
That's probably the only thing that I care.
Okay. This one's for me. I'll take a look at that. Okay, 1013. Kube control client and server validations work differently for environment variable value format.
We have a different version of OpenAPI that is being used for validation. Server is doing validation based off actual Go structs in a Go code. kubectl does a validation based on the OpenAPI schema that is being published per resource. And the current implementation has some quirks. If I remember correctly, Stefan and Nikita vendored part of the Go OpenAPI that we just need to switch kubectl to instead of the current one. You don't have to tag them. That's something that they already pinged me for. So I have it on my list. I'm hoping to be able to pick it up in the near future. And near future is probably this month. I'm hoping it should be pretty straightforward. So just assign that one to me.
Okay. (982). We accepted this one. Doug, you're taking a look at it.
Trying to remember this one. Oh yeah, now I remember. I need to look.
Okay. Okay, 15 and 14. Kube control diff external command doesn't support sub commands.
I think there's a PR even open for that one. Can you scroll down? I'm pretty sure someone was actually. And I was actually looking at it because somebody actually started working on those. I can't remember.
Does this work if you quote the whole thing?
Yeah, it should. Yeah, it might be possible because he.
I think I sent a patch to fix that. We had a regex and was not including the dash. So if you want to assign it to me, I can double check and I will close if it's already solved or not.
Yeah, Doug. Yeah, it merged. Just found that one, the PR from you.
Yeah.
Using GNU diff, some commands requires an equal sign.
So maybe we need
9,858 that merged 14 days ago.
Looks like we need to include the dash, not only the equal. So I'll definitely look to this.
Okay, 1014. Kubectl set end resource name key value do not support keys with thought in them. Hmm.
Yeah, it looks like a bug in the validation code that we have was probably.
Seems like a good first issue too.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the backlog for Triage Party. Oh, one more. Let's see, what's this? Repetitive messages and status. Doug, you took this one. You want to discuss in a meeting.
Let me remember this one, but it was long, like 2 months ago that I looked into it. I was wondering if this one's a real bug because it's looks like it's a watch, so it will keep pop up the message. So I wanna hear from you guys if you wanna just show one message, or because it's a watch type, it will keep popping up the message to us. I'd like to hear from some other people. It doesn't look like a bug for me, but you know. It basically goes, you set replica 3, it will show up like a rollout finish 1 of 3, and then 2 of 3, and then 3 of 3, and then that's it. So the user wanna just, instead of pop up the message, but I think that's the way the watching works.
Yeah, that's definitely correct, because what we're showing is we're showing information about updates coming from the server. The fact that a user is not necessarily seeing a change doesn't mean that the replica hasn't changed in the background. So for example, between the rollout to finish 2 out of 3 and another one, for example, status on the replica might have changed. If, let's say, the replica has 5 pods running, yeah, it's perfectly normal.
Yeah. Doug, can you close that one with the working as intended?
Sure thing.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Okay, that's Triage Party. Mache, any follow-up to that other one, annotations?
I can't seem to find. Sami, I'll have a look deeper. I need to find in the code where we're doing that one, and I'll leave information whether we can do it or not.
Okay. Close those.
I remember talking with Ricardo, but I'm not seeing him today. He mentioned that he was going through super old issues in the main Kubernetes repo. And he promised me that the next time he'll just bring them over, but he's not here. So,
Yeah, he said he got stuck in another meeting.
oh, okay.
He's mapping out the frozen issues. For the next
Yeah.
meeting, we decide what to do. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, so that's that repo. We don't have Jeff, do we? And Sean had to leave early. Phil, is there anything you want to go through for customize?
No. Although I'm not particularly well prepared today, so there's probably work to be done there. But maybe we'll just get it next time around.
Okay. This is in the main repo. Kubernetes control top node does not return usage for Windows nodes. Okay, looks like someone from SIG Windows is taking a look at this right now. Yes. All right, I'll leave that for them. The scribe node should show huge page usages. I'm not familiar with what a huge page is.
It's a setting on a node. If that's simple to get, sure. Oh,
There's a pull request. Looks simple enough. Okay.
Send it my way.
Okay. After taint node, taint time will not be recorded.
Yeah, I'm looking to this one. I think that one is real, and the only concern I need to look is that from my understanding, looking the code, there is a certain type of taint that need to be recorded, and not all, if I'm not wrong. So in my opinion, the bug is real. And he has other patches related to this topic, so I'm watching.
That fix looks really straightforward too. I'd like to see
Yeah.
a test for it though.
Yeah.
All right, he assigned me to that one. I'll take a look at it. Exec auth client plugin checks whether standard out is interactive to decide whether to forward to standard in. Yeah, this is SIG auth. They have a PR? No. Okay, SIG auth is going to do that one. Custom columns, variant to add additional columns to output.
Custom columns are already available. You specify -o custom columns or custom columns file, and you do it. It's not a flag. It's a printer. Yeah, that's the answer. You can close it. He's talking about example. No, it's actually a thing. Custom columns is another printer. Now,
The problem with the current behavior is that only the columns that are specified are shown in the final output.
If I remember this one, he wants to add other columns that are not available. Like he
I know what
mentioned
you mean.
an example there.
That's weird because I would expect the custom columns or basically anything like JSON path, JSON file, Go template, any of those, whatever, template printers should work against an actual.
Yeah, there is one guy, probably Ed is looking right now, that mentioned some commands that can do what he's looking for.
My guess is that we might be. Oh, there's a nasty to do in the get-go with my name on it. Currently, we don't support custom columns with server-side print. So in these cases, force the old behavior. But that basically means we are forcing the entire resource to be retrieved, and it should work. I'll look that one. I'll look into that one.
Okay, how are we doing on time? Wow, we are so ahead. We have 15 minutes left. Cannot enter the process namespace using kubectl alpha debug with the target parameter.
Assign this one to Lee. Lee is
Verb, right?
Yeah. He will be working towards getting the debug command to G8. So it's very good feedback for him.
Okay. Dependent environment in config map. They want their local environments passed to exec? No.
What's the ask? I'm confused on like.
It should be a kubelet feature request. And there's a PR.
Okay, sounds like we
So,
can close it.
Kube control commands lagging.
Uh, there are a couple things that I think might be coming into play. One, his cluster might have a significant number of CRDs, and he should be able to notice information in the log. We will be putting information, and we have a CRD discovery burst setting, which limits the number of requests per second that we can do. I think it's set to 150 or yeah, something along those lines. We might want to consider bumping that a little bit higher for kube control. I know that we did that for the OpenShift client because with the increased number of the discover data, it's getting pretty congested. Other option is to keep the discover information cache from rereading the discover information more frequently. I'll look into it. There are a couple of options.
Is that burst value user configurable?
No, it's not.
Okay. How we doing? 9 minutes. Alpha debug does not work on tainted nodes. That seems like, ooh, that's tough. Yeah, is that working as intended or?
I'm inclined to say probably so.
Okay, Verb replied.
Okay, I think this is in progress, so.
Yeah. Oh, I bet Lee's very happy. They're getting lots of feedback, and that's good. Okay. Kube control patch error message mentions of non-existent flag. Okay.
Yeah, easy fix. Just update the error message, not to say about the flag.
Queue control in Windows does not support wildcards. That's a shell feature, isn't it?
Yes. I'm guessing there's a difference.
Oh, yeah, there's Phil. I mean, Jordan.
Jordan. Yeah, it's
Yeah, that's a shell feature. But like, so this wouldn't work for a couple of reasons. Like one, like what's printed here, like, yeah, I mean, what's going to happen is the shell is going to expand it and this can provide like 2 additional arguments. So like there's a workaround around, I think you use like, there's a creative way of using xargs with this or something. And there is like some shell magic you can do with maybe xargs. I can't quite remember to get it to create the -f in front of each one of the files.
Yeah.
So, you know, the answer is like, hey, if we were to start over, or if we were to had to start over today, maybe we'd make these things arguments instead of flags when shell expansion is likely to be involved, but we're not there anymore.
It also works with the directory.
You mean -r?
Oh, I
Right.
think -f works with the directory.
Yeah, -f works for the directory as well. If you do, and then you can do -recursive too.
Yeah, you can do -f like that too with a dot current directory. It'll only pull the YAML files.
Yeah, I think this is more than enough. Yeah, this is more of a customer support at this point than it is trying to make the software better.
Validation fails for custom resource with array of pointers.
I don't think this is coup control.
it might be related again to the Open API. Yeah.
Yeah, there's Antoine and Stefan. Okay, we can bounce that for now. Pop pods oh wide. User wants to work on it if we'll accept it. Does that, so that definitely uses the metric server, right? But we don't just pipe that data, right?
Yeah. If he can show up at one of the meetings, or pre-record a demo. It seems reasonable.
Yeah, it'd be good actually to have some like standard way we can evaluate like which features we should be, accepting contributions for based on the amount of folks wanting to see them, right? Like, because right now it does seem just kind of like if we think it makes sense. But it would be less work for us if like we had some standard definition of saying, okay, like let's have like 30 users plus one this thing, and then we can then it makes sense to talk about seriously or something like that.
Yeah, that would be a good process to set up.
I can probably throw something quick and dirty together on like, and then put in the docs to say like here's how you get here's the first step to getting a new feature considered, which is find this many people who also want the feature.
Yeah, something along those lines would be definitely helpful.
I see we have Tanya on the call. Tanya, is that something you'd be interested in working with Phil on? You're muted, sorry.
You're on mute, but it looked like a yes. Okay, awesome. Yeah, why don't you ping me on Slack after this and we can set up a time to talk.
Awesome. And with that, we are out of time.
On that last issue, there is a plugin that for kube capacity. So I mean, part of it is like, is there already like a plugin or something that does what they're asking? So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, you mean a kube control plugin that you can like go get or something, or crew install?
Well, like the kube control top pods -o wide. There's another person down there that said there's a plugin that provides something similar to that already.
Right. Yeah, you mean like a crew plugin? No.
Yep. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that would be probably a good thing to add on. It should be like, I guess there should be if there's a plugin, like we'd consider upstreaming it under wet conditions as well.
Yeah, this has been something that's still on the agenda as a future topic for graduation criteria for plugins. So
It'd be great if we could get usage metrics for plugins. I guess GitHub stars. I don't know.
I'll run that by Chris Kim, see if they have any thoughts.
I remember that Ahmed actually had some statistics around which plugins are the most popular based off the reach and gets for the crew index. It's definitely worth asking them.
Well, thanks, team. See you next week.
Thank you all. Bye.
Also, anyone who wanted some issues, there's some good first issues in there, so feel free to grab them.